Okay, this is a reaction video. This is another from Rowan J. Coleman. This is top 10 Star Trek original series episodes. This is let's see what what he has. I obviously doesn't do it in any specific order, but let's find out.
Ha! You thought I was done talking about Star Trek,
No, I was hoping you would continue talking about Star Trek.
didn't you? Far from it. In no particular order, this is the top 10 Star Trek the original series episodes. Number 1, Shore Leave.
Yeah, Shore Leave is an interesting episode where they go down to a planet and they think Dr. McCoy is dead, and basically it's a fun episode to watch, and probably one of the more interesting first season episodes.
This is a pure example of Star Trek just having a lot of fun with itself. After exploring space for a while, the crew needs some rest, so the Enterprise rocks up to a seemingly peaceful planet for some shore leave. But then Dr. McCoy suddenly comes across the White Rabbit and Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And from there, other crew members start to see more bizarre stuff. So it's up to Kirk and co to figure out what the hell is going on. While the twist in this episode is easy to predict, the fun comes from seeing all of our favourite characters interact with these strange things. Sue confronts a samurai, Don Juan shows up, and Kirk bumps into a mischievous Academy classmate, and proceeds to have a classic Shatner fight sequence which lasts for what feels like fucking hours. And while Kirk takes centre stage, DeForest Kelley is really brilliant in this episode. There's a quaint, budding romance between himself and a young ensign. Despite an age difference that could have made this interaction sleazy and uncomfortable, it's well written and well performed. There's no big philosophy behind this episode, just excitement over seeing what new, wacky, weird thing the crew might run into. A good sign.
Yeah, like I said, it was a lot of fun. This was a good episode. Not a bad choice for top 10 episode.
Sci-Fi romp. Number 2, The Squire of Gothos.
Okay, this was another first season episode, kind of the proto-Q, if you want to know. Kind of a surprising ending, if you ask me, but still pretty good.
This is another really fun one. The Enterprise encounters an alien entity called Trelane, who seems to have the power to make anything happen with the wave of his hand. But he's mistaken humanity to still be a barbaric, warlike species, and forces the crew into a variety of games and competitions to exploit this savage instinct. What makes this episode is the performance by William Campbell as Trelane,
who also would play in the second Trials in the Trouble with Tribbles would play what's his name, the Klingon Koloth,
who's having an absolute blast in the role. He delights in the idea of glorious warfare, and his constant nagging of Kirk is the episode's highlight, climaxing in a trippy cat-and-mouse game between the two and a final twist which is funny and casts the episode in an entirely new light. Number 3, A Taste of Armageddon.
Again, another first season episode, probably one of the better episodes that I saw, where two neighboring planets fight their wars with computers. And if you know, the civilization lives on, but if you're registered as part of one of the places where the bomb hits, you have to report to a disintegration chamber. Fascinating. It were fought by computers.
Now a more philosophically ambitious episode. The Enterprise makes contact with a planet which is engaged in a bizarre war which is fought entirely with computers. No actual weapons or fire, but people are still killed off in simulated blast zones. When Kirk and co are caught in one of these zones, they are expected to die for real. This prompts Kirk to say, "Fuck the Prime Directive, I'm sorting this shit out." A lot of Season 1 dealt with fighting humanity's inherent savage instincts, and this is one of the best episodes to explore this idea. The planet's inhabitants fight this simulated war because they believe that war is inevitable anyway.
Yeah, and the war is going anyway, and they're creatures of duty, and as Kirk says, you've made it so simple and easy, you've had no reason to stop it.
But they can fight it without completely destroying their civilization. This backward way of thinking is perfectly highlighted in one of my favourite speeches from Kirk.
Death, destruction, disease, horror. That's what war is all about, Anon. That's what makes it a thing to be avoided.
But that all being said, it's still full of tension and awkward Shatner fistfights. Good stuff. Number 4, Balance of Terror.
Yeah, this is, if anybody who talks about Kirk being ready to rush in, where angels fear to tread, or things like that. Balance of Terror basically puts that, because Kirk does not rush in. Kirk uses space tactics. Okay, he doesn't rush in. He doesn't just go in guns a-blazing. He uses space tactics to defeat the Romulan. And it also deals with prejudice because Styles, the guy, I don't know who plays him, but he basically finds out his brother and his father died in a war with the Romulans, and he finds the Romulans look just like Vulcans, and it deals with prejudice as well.
I already mentioned this one in my full review of the series. The Enterprise engages in a battle with a Romulan bird of prey, which is fleeing back to the Empire after launching devastating attacks on Federation outposts. What follows is nail-biting submarine-style warfare between the two ships, rather than a full-on space battle. The bird of prey can cloak, but it can't use its weapons while doing so, and it can't outrun the Enterprise. But the bird of prey's main weapon could destroy the Enterprise completely in one shot if it got the chance. It's a thrilling battle of wits between Kirk and the Romulan commander, played by Mark Lenard,
who would play Spock's father in Journey to Babel in the second season.
Would go on to play Sarek, Spock's father. There's great performances from all the regular cast and even some one-off crew members as well. Instead of anonymous red shirts being killed off, an effort is made to make you feel the loss of more minor characters, and it really pays off. It's a definite contender for my personal favourite episode of the entire series. Number 5, City on the Edge of Forever.
This is another first season. All 5 of these have been from the first season. And A City on the Edge of Forever, Harlan Ellison wrote this and really was disappointed when he saw the episode play on TV because it was not what he had written, even though he got credit for it. But this is probably what Leonard Nimoy called good tragedy. The City on the Edge of Forever. Fantastic episode.
After McCoy accidentally injects himself with a hyperspray, he ends up tripping balls and going back in time to the 1930s. Kirk and Spock follow to go and get him back, but while there, Kirk falls in love with a woman who is destined to be killed. Joan Collins guest stars as Edith Keeler, and you really see why Kirk would be so taken with her. The character is incredibly forward-thinking and intelligent, as well as truly caring for her fellow human being. Collins brings a great charisma as well as gravitas to the role, which makes her interactions with Shatner believable and charming. It's a low-key episode with a slow pace, but it has fascinating thematic implications, intriguing sci-fi, and a gut punch of an ending. Number 6, This Side of Paradise.
Again, another first season episode. This one deals with spores, drugs that make the crew basically want to abandon ship and live, and basically live in on a planet. Basically, just it basically deals with drugs, is what it deals with.
The Enterprise is sent to a Federation colony which was recently hit by a lethal dose of radiation, and
they're told rays, and the plants create a immunization from it, and so that's
expect that the colonists may have all been killed. However, they discover that they're not only alive, but in better health than when they left. All of them are in a trance-like state of happiness and want the Enterprise crew to join them. It's discovered that a certain plant spore has brainwashed the colonists into this strange state, and soon the same begins happening to the Enterprise crew. Leonard Nimoy shines in this one, as he gets an opportunity to shed his usual cold Vulcan persona, and even engage in a romance with one of the colonists.
Jill Ireland, who I believe married Charles Bronson.
It's refreshing to see him smiling and laughing as well as butting heads with Kirk. It's a very ambiguous episode. On one hand, it's clear that the spores are messing with people's brains and causing them to act out of the ordinary, but at the same time, the colonists and the Enterprise crew become genuinely happy and establish good relationships. It's an
the scene where where Kirk figures out how to defeat the spores, and then he uses them to take Spock. Break Spock of the power that the spores have on him was very, very good.
Episode for debate and interpretation, as well as being a really entertaining slow burner. Number 7, Space Seed.
Okay, this is another first season. We've gone through 7 episodes, and they're all in the first season.
Of course I have to include this one.
This is one who brings Khan in. Khan from the Wrath of Khan.
The Enterprise discovers the Botany Bay, a prison ship from Earth's eugenics wars that happens to contain 72 genetically engineered super people, led by Khan. I barely need to explain why this episode is awesome. It's tense as Khan plans to take over, it ends in a nice punch-up, and of course it features a fantastic performance by Ricardo Montalban. If you need a reason why this guy got a movie, look no further. Number 8.
Yeah, this is, again, so far we've done all first season episodes.
The Enterprise
Okay, this is the first episode of the third season.
incident. A seemingly mad Kirk orders the Enterprise to cross the neutral zone right into the hands of the Romulan Empire. They
Who are now using Klingon ships, Klingon ship design.
get captured, but of course, not all is what it seems. This is a great thriller episode, a game of deception and
Written by D.C. Fontana.
internal power struggles, something which the Next Generation capitalized on with the Romulans. The reveal and execution of what Kirk's actual plan is one of those moments that'll make you go, oh.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. When Kirk is pretending, all of a sudden he tells Chekhov, this is not, Chekhov turns in his mineral reports that this is not what I thought. Come back when you've done it, and then basically orders the ship into the neutral zone. And when Scotty says, when was the order given to go to the neutral zone? And I think it was her says, I don't know order that I given. And then Kirk goes, if you do have something to say, you can say it. And it really is a very good episode.
Oh. And there's an intriguing relationship between Spock and a Romulan commander played by Joanne Linville. There's a great dynamic between them, and through their relationship we see the divides and commonalities between Romulans and Vulcans as a species. Nimoy is excellent as always, and Linville does a fine job playing opposite him. With a lesser script and actress, this could have come off as Spock just being too sexy for women to bear, but it's much smarter than that. And their final interaction in the turbo lift is kind of heartbreaking. It's a thrilling episode that I wish came up on more best-of lists for this show.
Yeah, I agree. It was a very good episode, even though it was the third season, which wasn't the best season for Star Trek, and what eventually got the show canceled.
Number 9, Spectre of a Gun.
This is another third season episode. This was they get put into a western town, which Kirk's history, and the first time you ever root for the Clantons in the gunfight at the OK Corral, because the Enterprise crew is playing the Clantons.
When the Enterprise refuses the warnings of an alien probe and intrudes into its space, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Chekhov are zapped away into a make-believe western town where they are condemned to a historic gunfight that they are destined to lose. The episode has a weird vibe all throughout, with its half-built western setting and harsh red-coloured backgrounds. The characters are also equally confused by the whole thing. What holds the episode together is trying to figure out what's going on and how to get out of it, and watching the characters do the same. Anything you can think of as an audience member is explored on screen, so when every avenue of escape is shot down, the tension rises as you yourself struggle to think of a solution. And the final showdown is an extremely clever piece of writing. I won't spoil it though, just in case you haven't seen this one. Season 3 doesn't have many great episodes, but this is an exception.
Yeah, you picked up two. You've had the first 7 were first season episodes, and then the last 2 you've done have been third season episodes.
Number 10, Doomsday Machine.
Okay, this was the second season. The only second season episode. You do the trials, and the Trouble with Tribbles, Amok Time. What else? There's a few in the second season which are really, really good. I'm surprised it didn't make this list. But yeah, Doomsday Machine is probably the best of it. That's the planet-eating machine.
The Enterprise answers the distress call of the USS Constellation. Its commanding officer, Commodore Decker, is the only survivor and describes something terrifying. A gigantic, ancient alien superweapon with the power to destroy entire planets is roaming the galaxy. It's up to the Enterprise to stop it. William Wyndon's performance makes this episode. He's so horrified by what's happened to his ship and crew that he's gone mad with revenge. It's that Moby Dick thing that Star Trek likes to do.
Yeah, this was a very good episode, and I believe Matt Decker, Commodore Decker, his son was supposed to be in the Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but I don't think they ever established that.
It's also the first all-out space battle in Star Trek. Not the battle of wits like in Balance of Terror, but a full-on ship-to-ship battle. And in this case, the remastered edition really elevates the episode.
Yeah, it does. It really does, because it basically gives better special effects.
The more modern VFX help to create much more dynamic sequences in the episode, but they don't outstay their welcome either. There's some great lines from Kirk, a compelling power struggle between Spock and Decker, and an intense climax. A brilliantly written episode and a gripping sci-fi adventure. And that's it. Now, as I said, this was in no particular order, and it was really hard to narrow these down. I literally had to do a bracket-style tournament coin flip to choose some of these. What are your favorite episodes?
Yeah, I agree. This is Rowan J. Coleman. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him as well as for me. I don't have a problem with the episodes. I mean, there's just a few more that I would put in there, but you only have 10, and he did a good job. Like I said, please click share and subscribe for Rowan J. Coleman as well as for me, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.